She left by first swimming across the Tumen River into China, then working in order to raise the money to pay a guide to take her on to Laos and across the Mekong River to Thailand, where she appealed to the South Korean embassy for help and a flight onto Seoul. She took emergency measures in case she didn't make it.
만약에 공안에 잡히잖아요. 잡히면은
If we were caught by the police, then we would have been sent back to North Korea, which is like a death sentence for us. There'd be no point in going back to live like an animal. That's why we travelled with poison, so that if we were caught, we'd take it and kill ourselves.
죽으려고 자살하려고 그렇게 다 준비를 하고 가는 거예요.
We met with another group of recent arrivals. We showed them a bit of what we'd seen in the north, like the kindergarten with its indoor fairground. Thank you. And how we were invited into a typical house.
음식이 그렇게 많지 않고 아까 보니까
No, we didn't have that much food. I noticed bananas. I never saw bananas in the north. That table was prepared in advance because you were coming. It's all lies.
준비해 놓은 것 같아요.
영상에서 봤던 그런 평양 시민들이나
The kindergarten kids, they don't appear to have any health problems, and no ordinary kindergarten looks like that. To the north of Pyongyang, things are very different. There's no room to play inside, only outside.
너무나 확연한 차이가 나요.
And the children are very thin and malnourished. There are hundreds of street children, homeless children, just living and dying on the streets.
또 아이들 같은 경우는 너무 말라서
And what about the worship of the great leader?
어릴 때부터
From the youngest age, from nursery school, all your life until you die, you're brainwashed. I thought he was God, and that Kim Jong-il was the son of God. Now I think completely differently. What do they mean by saying he's a god? He's just a normal person.
이제는 그렇게 생각하지 않아요.
Many North Koreans have been living here for years. Men like Ha To-kung feel a responsibility to those left behind.
암시장에서 거래되고 있는 달러를 회수하기 위한 목적이 있었다는 것이죠.
They send radio broadcasts with news of the outside world, which can be picked up only on the perimeters of the country, but at risk.
보편적 정례 검토에 대해 발표했습니다.
Those detected by the so-called Electrical Wave Inspection Bureau are sent to rehabilitation centers, forced labor camps, like this one filmed secretly in the north.
So they are detained in this labor training camp, and they wake up early in the morning. They're brought out of the prison and forced to work on the street or on this roof.
Those charged with more serious political crimes get sent to a gulag.
According to gulag survivors, in Korea we have tens of gulag survivors, about 200,000 people only in the gulags. And other than gulags, there are labor training camp, rehabilitation centers, including all those prisons. I see about 1 million people are detained in the prisons.
That's almost 1 in 20 of the population are being detained.
About 5 to 10% of the whole populations.
Diplomats and human rights organizations concur, claiming that many hundreds of thousands are detained. Mr. Ha gets news from the north by calling contacts living on the border with China, from where they can pick up a mobile phone signal. We've disguised this man's voice to protect his identity.
여보세요?
전혀 안 온 데도 있고, 그리고 전주구세 그 멀리 한 2시간씩 가는 데도 있고, 공장도 안 들어오는데 뭐 어떻게 골고루 다 만들어서 그 있는 자리가 없어요. 뭐 말도 안 되지. 여기는 물에 아무리 깨끗한 물이라 해도 한 리터에 9마리 있어요, 9마리 대장균에. 지금 없습니다. 없는데 이 정도로 살갗이 많이 떨어졌으니까.
In North Korea, food is treated like a state secret. People get government rations, but they're not enough. They depend on private markets to survive. But we were told the government plans to shut them down. What do the young people think will be the future? Why aren't people rebelling?
그걸 한다는 자체는 자기만 죽는 게 아니라
If you rebel, it will not only result in your death, but your family will be punished. Because the risk is so great, not many people try.
선뜻 그 일을 하기를 싫어하죠.
This young man should know he escaped here after his father, an army officer, attempted a coup and was executed. He says that the rest of his family was sent to a gulag.
저게 빨리 바뀌어야 되고.
But society there should be changed. It should collapse so that everyone there can be rescued.
수 있겠다 하는 생각을 좀 많이 했어요.
지금 옛날보다 많이 내부적으로도
People are listening more to what is happening in South Korea and China and in the outside world, illegally on the radio, in their own homes, and so their understanding is changing gradually. So I wonder if that is the way that things are going to change.
But back in North Korea, only those who live in the border areas have any link to the outside world. In the rest of the country, there is no contact. There's no civil society, no churches or trade unions of the type which brought down the communist regimes of Eastern Europe. In the capital, Pyongyang, they celebrate the great leader's birthday. An extravagance of fireworks entertains the chosen few. Only those with an untarnished political background can live in the capital city, and they all know who to thank for the spectacle.
Our great father, he founded our country and he brings us happiness.
Elsewhere in the country, if people are lucky, as those who've escaped told us, they may get a rare ration of meat to celebrate the birthday, but without electricity, they'll eat in darkness. But living next door to South Korea, one of the most communications-aware countries in the world, how much longer will it be possible to keep these people in the dark?